And here are the standings after 4 rounds of play. Four-way tie for first. My buddy Carl Nakamura from the United States. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave from France. Anish Giri and world champion Magnus Carlsen with 2.5. With 2 points, 11 Aronian. Michael Mickey Adams. Fabiano Caruana. Alexander Grischuk. In 9th place, fishing on with 1.5 points. And Veselin Topalov. Really surprised at only 1 point. He was actually the leader going through the first 2 tournaments in the 3-leg Grand Chess Tour. But there are the standings after 4 rounds. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Another good game from round 4 of the 7th London Chess Classic. This is the 3rd leg of a 3-leg series of tournaments called the Grand Chess Tour. This is between 2 great players. As white, Alexander Grischuk from Russia, time control junkie, or time trouble junkie I should say. And Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, MVL from France, is black. Let's get to it. It's a really, really interesting game. Cecilia Nadorf. Hey, surprise, surprise. It's not a Berlin. There's a shocker. Now, I don't know many people that know Maxime is an expert in the Nadorf. So I thought it was interesting that Grischuk at least did the moves to have him play it. We'll go through the first few moves here. F4, H6, Queen B6, A3 is the last book move. I want to say as we get towards the end of this, to give you an idea how close they were in time. Grischuk, of course, was in huge time trouble, as he always is. But I want to give a heads up to the fact that this is the way not to act when your opponent is in deep, deep time trouble and you're not. Bishop E7, Bishop F2, Queen C7. They're going to maneuver around a little bit. Typical. Now there's many, many moves here. Many moves. Castle's long, Bishop E2, and G4. Knight C6. Those pawns look really menacing up there. White castle's long, Bishop. Now the computer likes Bishop D3. Interesting. I kind of like that myself. Rook G1, Bishop E2. He just decides to go for it. H4. Now he spent a long, long time on this move H4. We're only on move 13. He's probably got a good half an hour on this move, if I remember correctly. By the way, if anybody wants to see any of these games, any round, go to the Chess Club and Scholastic Center's YouTube channel, and they'll have all of the rounds from the previous tournaments up through this one with commentating, and it's really great. D5, of course, which basically evens it out. White had a small advantage. He has to go E5 now. Knight D4. Knight takes, pawn takes. You really don't want to take the pawn. This discovery would be murder. This knight discovery. Picking the rook up for free. Well, you have to give up the queen for the bishop, but Queen C3, Rook C8, Rook to H3. Interesting move there. And that's one of the choices of the computer. And who would have thought of a rook lift with your pawns already pushed up? What he's looking to do is maybe even bring the rook around to help with the defense of the king here. B4. A takes. Knight takes. Queen takes. Rook takes. F5. He's going for it. Now we're on move 21 now. And if not mistaken, the time controls are 40 moves in an hour and a half. For those of you who don't know chess time, that means each side gets an hour and a half to make 40 moves. And we're on move 21, and Alex is down to basically a half an hour. And he's got 20 moves to go. Castles. Bishop E1. Bishop D5. G5. Rook F to C8. Bishop B4. Those two bishops are just brutal. Just brutal. Ripping down on the white's king side. Oop, a little screwy with my arrow there. There we go. And these double rooks. Looks pretty menacing. Bishop takes. F6. Interesting move there. Of course, you can't really take. Takes. Opens up this file. You don't want that. So he decides just to move the king. C3. Just to get that blunt a little bit in the double rooks and move the bishop. If bishop takes, well, bishop takes instead. Rook A8, and that's it. It's over. That free pawn wasn't so free. G takes, Rook G8. I mean, let's just take a pause here and take a look at this position. I mean, this is an interesting chain right here, to be honest with you. Computer basically shows it as even. I don't know who's better, or who's easier to play, I should say. It's probably more accurate. White's rooks aren't very coordinated. That light square bishop really has nowhere to go. What to do? He does take the pawn. Bishop goes to C5. Now, right now, Maxime, as black, has probably, my guess is, 45 minutes left, 40 minutes. Grischuk on move 28 is down to basically 3 minutes. Maybe even less if I remember correctly. And this is where I think Maxime goes wrong. Not just with the moves that he makes, but how quickly he plays. I tell you right now, folks, especially the guys just starting out chess, if you're playing in a tournament and your opponent is in severe time trouble, you think it would make sense to play as quickly as you can. That's not the case. Use your time. There's no point putting yourself in time pressure because your opponent couldn't manage his time. Little tip there for you. Knight to B5. Rook C6. Bishop. Rook. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. Knight D4. And he's moving quickly around move 32. And white should be against the wall. Should be against the wall. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. Rook G2. We're on move 33. And Grischuk basically has to make 7 moves in like 1 minute. So Maxime's just moving right along. Rook takes, king G6. Now this can get tricky. But Maxime just moves quickly. B3, king F5, Rook G3, king, Rook back to G1. These rook gettings can be very, very tricky. I think almost all of us would instantly move the rook down here. Try to go after this pawn, or a lot of us would. That means this pawn is going to be in prey. This king can get in. This pawn's coming down. Not a good idea. Rook back to G1. E3. Give you an idea, if rook had taken, rook to F1 check, king G4, E6. And now white's got counterplay. After E3, king moves, rook takes check, king to C2, rook, king D3, this goes right back. Now the threat is, of course, checking, picking up this pawn, this king takes this pawn, Rook checks, and they go back and forth, and it draws. I thought it was a hell of a game. Went through a little quick in the middle game there if you want to go back and go a little slower. But Grischuk does it again. He was down to less than 15 seconds on his last move to make move 40. But he does it. God bless him. And I like Grischuk too. I think he's underrated. Anyway, folks, that's a pretty interesting game from round 4 of the 7th Annual London Chess Classic. I hope you enjoyed it. Look for other games coming up. It's a 10-round tournament, the last leg of the Grand Chess Tour. They're giving away some serious cash here. Over $300,000 just in this tournament only. It's over $1 million for all 3 of them. And there's big bonuses if you land in the top 3 and total accumulation of points for all the tournaments. And as I always say, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.